Happiness is freedom. Freedom is having the choice to spend your time doing things that inspire you. Most people want freedom, but many people don't have a clear objective, a roadmap, or a strategy to achieve it. Everyone deserves to live an inspired and free life. I believe that when we're free and able to focus on our most meaningful work, we simply become better human beings. We can give more, care more, support more, and love more. I'm an investor, a trader, and an entrepreneur, and I get to spend every day doing what I love. At the age of 29 years old, I became financially free, and since then my mission has been to help and inspire other people to achieve the same so that they can be more of who they really want to be. Always Free is about having a free mind, being free to question the status quo, free to take risks, free to say no, free to say yes, free from social idealisms, opinions and beliefs, free to disobey, and free to wake up every day and spend your time to make a difference that inspires you. You can have it all. Living a life designed by you isn't a stroke of luck or a result of circumstance. It's a choice. So if you want to learn how to become free and live an inspired life, join me for the #1 show for financial empowerment and wealth creation as I share my insights, tips, strategies and advice on what allowed me to be always free. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jason Graystone. Well, welcome back to the show, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you've all had a nice week so far. How's everyone doing? If you're here joining us live, welcome. It's good to have everyone. Evening, Alfie. Evening, Pog, whatever that means. Good to have you. Amazing to have you all. Will Green, hope you're doing well. First and foremost, I want to just say thanks to everyone who's joined us on this show over the last few episodes. I've really been enjoying it. I know the engagement here has been great. It's been a real buzz on a Thursday evening for you guys who are joining us, and I enjoy it just as much as you do. Hopefully you're enjoying it. But it's a great honor to be able to just do this for starters. Just in time. Evening, Robbie. Good evening, Michael. Evening, Nikki. All right, so look, first of all, I don't know if any of you guys listen to my podcast, but definitely go and check out today's episode, because if you're thinking about running events online and you're thinking of leveling up your online event creation or products or services or boot camps or moving your business online, today's episode was absolutely brilliant for that. So definitely go and check that out. And also, I was talking to someone earlier about crypto, and just before we get stuck into today's episode, I just want to say that we was talking about crypto, and what happened was there was this guy who was asking me about my investment account, and you guys know that I've got kind of a very detailed allocation across my entire portfolio, from high speculation down to passive. And over the last couple of weeks, the tiny allocation, the 3 to 5% allocation that was involved in the higher speculative, like crypto, for instance, went from 3 to 5% up to 20, between 20 and 30% fluctuating. And the person said to me, well, that's probably the most you've earned in one asset class. If that's what the best one is, I'm going to do that. And I just want, and I want you to understand that had I put everything into crypto and I had no other investments, I would not be able to capitalize. It's all of the stuff underneath the speculation that allows me to generate profits on speculative investments. So I thought I'd share that with you, because it's a misconception. It's not the high speculative and the high return thing you want to go for necessarily. You have to earn your right to risk, and you have to grow your capital as slowly as it takes for your psychology to catch up with it. So really important stuff, and I thought I'd share that as well. So anyway, we got a treat for you today, because we're going to be going into, I'm going to give you 10 things, and we're going to work through this together during the show, by the way, 10 things that we can do in order to move you closer towards financial freedom. Because we know over the last couple of episodes, we've kind of been through some mindset stuff, Last week I gave you some insights in what it actually is, what is important. Now, bearing that in mind and knowing what you know now, what I want to do is give you literally a roadmap, something to set a benchmark for you so you know exactly what situation you're in, what you need to work on, what you need to focus on, and how long that might take you to get there. So we're going to be working through this in tonight's episode. So I highly recommend that you grab some paper, grab a pen, definitely take notes on this. We're going to work through this together, and as we go through this, you can either do your own personal example, or you can do that later, or you can work through this example with me and write down all the same numbers I'm going to give you, all the same examples I'm going to give you, and then you can go and do yours later once you've nailed it and you're clear, okay? Because if everyone's doing their own situation, it might get a bit hectic in the old chat. But yeah, it's my favorite time of the week as well. Thursday's podcast day, show day, awesome. So I take it everyone can hear me loud and clear. I take it the sound's all good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you 10 questions, okay? Now, some of you might have done some of this before. Some of you might have done this through me before. Some of you might have been on my program. Some of you might have seen an article I've written, but I want this to be interactive. I want you to actually take the time to do this. And I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to have a real clear roadmap. You're going to have a clear benchmark. Okay, and I want you to, and if you've done this before, definitely do it again. This is going to be a great refresher for you, and it's going to be a great way to really get connected with the relationship between what I'm going to share with you. Because what I'm going to share with you will guarantee your financial freedom, and it will also give you tangible numbers and figures and relationships components to work towards. So if that sounds good, grab a pen, grab some paper, and let's get into the questions. So I'm going to ask you 10 questions, all right? And you need to know the answer to all of these questions to track where you are working towards your financial independence, all right? And I'm going to warn you, it can be a bit of a slap in the face. It can be a bit of a slap in the face, or it can be very, very motivating. I told you guys about the story of the cab driver, the taxi driver. It can be very, very motivating, or it can be deflating, but I promise you, you'll have a benchmark and you'll know exactly what you're working on, all right? But either way, you've got to complete this, and I recommend that you complete it regularly, all right? So is everyone ready? Has everyone got a pen and paper handy? I'm going to give you the first question. Everyone ready? Let's have the chat. This is amazing. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Who else is here? Peter. If you're here, let yourself known. Also, give us some likes and like the video. If you're on YouTube, I can see many of you are watching this on YouTube. Definitely give the video a like so that we can boost the algorithm and get this message and this information out to more and more people, because it's very, very important messaging. Love it, says Robbie. And don't forget, if you stay to the end, you're going to be in the competition. We're going to give away this week's prizes to last week's competition winner. We're going to announce the winner at the end. And if you guys are here during the competition time and you're commenting, you'll be nominated for next week's prize. So that's how it works. Hi, Vanita. Louisa Townsend, how you doing? All right, who's ready for the first question then? I'll leave the chat up for a while just so we can see who's here and you guys can engage in the chat. So the first question, right, and this is going to seem really obvious to you guys, but the first question is, do you want to be financially free? Now, I know that seems like an obvious question, right? But if most people really, really did want to be financially free, right, why aren't they? Okay? Because some people dedicate their lives to figuring it out and some people don't. Why aren't they? Is it technical? Is it strategy? Is it mindset? And we've been through this in the previous episodes, okay? Now, the important thing of writing this down is, take lottery winners, for instance. They win the lottery. They don't give themselves permission to sit down and write down why they deserve the money, why they're worthy of the money. They haven't thought it out long term. So we did a survey in our Facebook group, and we did a Facebook survey to our group, and we were asking what the worries were, what the fears were, and the fourth most common answer, the fourth most popular answer was limelight, success, and basically reaching freedom. That was an actual fear and a worry, because people don't take into consideration what that's going to look like, how it's going to affect your friends, family. Some people have got a fear of losing friends when they become successful. So if you don't take the time to go, yes, I want to be financially free, and write down the reasons why, which I told you to do a couple of episodes ago, you have a much lower chance of, if you do get to that point or you get close to that point, you will squander it. You've got a much lower chance of achieving it because you won't be prepared for it. All right. So write down the answer. A lot of people don't ask themselves this question. They don't take the time to ponder on this question. And what happens is they just don't, when they are getting closer to it, they kind of try and repel it, right? And they don't know what it means. So write down the answer. Do you guys want financial freedom? That's the question. You have to write that down, and write it down on a piece of paper, stick it up on your wall, and have it there. 120%, I will be financially free. Amazing. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right, who's ready for question 2? The question 2 is, what is the total value of all of your assets? Okay? What is the total value of all of your assets? Now, I do this differently with my clients, but I just want to go all out. So your house, your jewelry, your bonds, your cash, anything you've got, right? You've got a Rolex, you might have some other jewelry that you can sell, you might have a house, right? And add up the value of all of that, the value of the assets. I'm not talking equity in the home or equity, or I'm talking complete total assets, right? Add them all up and get that figure down as close as you possibly can. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say that you've got a house, and write these figures down as well. As I'm doing this, write these figures down as I'm doing them, and you can write my figures down in this example, and then you can go away and look at them after this. So let's just say you've got a £600,000 house, okay? So that's 600,000. Let's just say you've got a Rolex that's 10 grand, and you've got cash of 20 grand, say. Okay, so what? You add that up, 600 plus 10 plus 20, that's 630,000, okay? So that is the number you want to write down. Everyone with me so far? I want to be financially free, but never had direction until I found your show. That's incredible to hear, Greg. Amazing. I'm glad you're on track now. So that's the total value of your assets, okay? Now the next question is very, very simple. What are your total liabilities? So these are the loans, the debts, right? Everything you owe, everything that isn't yours that you're paying out for. So, you might have a mortgage. If you've got a £600,000 house, and by the way, remember that is just at the value, the housing market value at this current time. What is the mortgage? You might have a 250 grand mortgage. Okay, you might have a 5 grand loan. You might have a 10 grand store card or something, right? So write down your liabilities, right? So 250 grand, 5 grand loan. We're going to go for a 250 grand mortgage in this example and a 5 grand loan. So 255,000 of liabilities. With me? So far, question 1, do you want financial freedom? Question 2, what is the total value of all of your assets combined? Okay, which we've said in this example is 630,000. Question 3, what is your total liabilities? In this example, we've gone for 255,000. So very, very simple so far. Hopefully people are still with me, right? And if you are, give us a like. Like the video. If you're still with me, hit the like button. And if you've hit it already, don't hit it again because that will turn the like off. All right. And you can also say yes in the chat as well. So question 4, what is your net worth? right? So net worth is question 2 minus question 3. So in this example, we're 630 grand minus 255 grand. Easy, right? So, evening, Mark. So that's 375,000. 375,000 net worth in this particular example. With me? Very, very simple. All right. So now we've got our net worth. Now we've got our total assets, total liabilities, total net worth. Now I'm going to start showing you how this stuff fits together and give you targets, right? So here's a question. It's going to be a very personal question to you. And by the way, if you feel like sharing some of your answers, please type in. If you want to share your total net worth, please type it in. I know some people like to keep it secret because some people just feel like it's a taboo. I want to lift the taboo on money, so feel free. We should be open about talking about money and our net worth and our current situation. That's what I want to get out of this show. So the next thing is this. What annual income would you need to live on passively to never have to work? All right? Now, the easiest way to do this is to add up your total ideal living expenses, right, for the month, and then multiply it by 12. Okay? So, everyone with me on that? Add up your ideal living expenses. So look, you might be living on 2 grand a month now, but you want to get to 4 grand, 5 grand a month, and that'll be your ideal. And you want to add that up, so that's your living costs per month. You want to live on 5 grand a month. And then you want to multiply that by 12. So if 5 grand a month is your ideal, 60,000 a year. Make sense? Everyone with me so far? Give us a yes if you are with me so far. Would you include your pension pot? We could include that in a little while, in a little bit later. So when we get to the end, I'll show you how you could potentially include that in. By the way, who's on Facebook? Who's on YouTube? Who's on Twitch? Who's on Instagram? Give us a yes, just so I can see where everyone's at. 240k, says Mark Gall. Yes, cheers. Yes, with you. Amazing. All right. So, ready for question 5. Sorry, we've done question 5. Ready for question 6. Okay, so we've got the, do you want to be financially free? Total value of all your assets, total value of all your liabilities, your net worth, which is question 4, and then your ideal annual income for your ideal living expenses. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. All right. Now here's where we got to do a little bit of maths. Okay, because this is the difference between giving you tangible numbers, tangible numbers, so that you've got something to aim for, and just peeing in the wind, which is what most people do. All right. So here's the thing. What is the average interest rate? We spoke about this last week. What is the average interest rate that you think that you could yield from investments, saving, swing trading, your investment, your other investments, maybe, basically, what is the best performance that you think you can yield? Now, if you don't have one and you don't have any money in the markets, what I would say is just go for 10% to keep the numbers simple. 10% is pretty conservative. The stock market's gone up 10% year on year since inception, and that is going to, that's a very conservative figure. This year, the last 12 months, we've seen 24.5% just on index funds, right? So over the long term, 10% minimum, that's a very realistic figure to put in and very conservative whilst you're fit and healthy and you can actively manage that and you can keep an eye on it. 10% is very, very conservative. So if you're not currently getting anything, right? If you're a trader and you're a stock trader, you might be buying stocks, you might be a trader, you might have some algorithm or some swing trading setup that's performing and you're getting 15, 20, 25, 30, 40% per year. then amazing. That's great. But if you're not getting any and you're not investing your money at all, you want to go conservative and just put a 10% figure. So what is the average performance, average interest rate that you can yield on investments year on year on year? And if you don't have that at the moment, just put 10%. All right? Now, next question. So everyone's got the answers to, we're up to question 7 now, okay? So everyone should have 6 answers. And again, you can go back and do these after the show. Question 7 is, what is the average inflation rate in your country over the last 20 years? Now, if you don't know the answer to this, you can use websites like macrotrends.net. Go on to macrotrends.net. Some of you use Wolfram Alpha. Some of you use other websites, trending websites. But you want to take the average over 20 years because there are going to be swings in the inflation rate, as we said last week. Sometimes it'll be 15% in some ridiculous boom, and then there'll be in a bust, sorry, and then there'll be very, very low interest in a boom. But the average in the UK is about 2.5%. Some of you, that's the UK. If you're in the US, it might be 3.5%, 4%. If you're in Australia, it might be 4%, 5%. In the UK, it's about 2.48% or something like that. We'll say 2.5% just for the sake of this video, right? So if it's 2.5%, write 2.5% if you're in the UK. If not, just write down this question. What is the average inflation rate in your country over a 20-year period? Once you've got that and you know that answer, we can then move on to the next question, all right? So the next one is, what is the total gross liquidity, right, that you would need to maintain your living expenses that you wrote down in question 5 if you invested it at the performance rate that you wrote down in question 6, and then add the inflation rate to the answer so that you're taking into consideration inflation. Okay, so take the answer and then divide it by 10% in this case, which is the inflation rate. So let me give you an example, okay? I'm going to give it, stay with me on this example. So let's say we need to cover annual living expenses of 60,000 per year, right? So in the example, we'll assume that you've got a net worth of 375,000, which we said earlier. You can realistically yield 10% per year on your returns, and your country's annual inflation rate, average annual inflation rate, is 2.5%. Okay? So the formula, write this formula down. Who's with me? Is everyone with me? The reason we're doing this, what we're doing is we're picking out your ideal living costs, and then we're looking at how you can invest that and what your returns will be. And then we're adding inflation onto that so that in 20 years' time or 10 years' time or wherever it might be, you'll know exactly how much you need invested so that it never goes down and it never eats into your original investment. And it also allows you to maintain the same lifestyle forever, you know, not deteriorating with inflation. All right. Oliver says, side note, 10-10-20 rule, save 10% of your income, 10% index fund, 20 years, passively live on the same amount as your income now. Yes. So what we're going to get at, though, is an exact figure for you guys. So based on what I've just said, and who wants me to read that last question again? Who wants me to say that last question again? All right. We'll stick with this example. So remember, you want to cover expenses of 60 grand in this example per year. You've got a net worth of 375,000, which was our assets minus liabilities. You can realistically yield a 10% return per year on your returns. And your average country inflation rate is 2.5%. That's what we need to know. Now here's the formula that you need to write down, and then there's one more thing that you need to do. Okay, so the equation is this: returns multiplied by inflation rate, okay? Expenses divided by returns multiplied inflation rate. That's the equation. Expenses divided by returns multiplied by inflation rate. So your expenses are 60,000 divided by returns, which is 10%. The way that you would write that in a formula is 0.10, okay, times the inflation rate. Now, if you're to write a percentage inflation rate in a formula like this, if it's 2.5%, you would write it as 1.025, okay? If it's 5%, it would be 1.05. If it's 4%, it will be 1.04, okay? So it's 2.5% in the UK, so the equation is this: 60,000 divided by 0.1 multiplied by 1.025. That is the formula for this example that I gave you, okay? The answer to that question in this example is £615,000, okay? Now, what does that mean? That means that that is the total liquidity you need invested in order to maintain that lifestyle whilst generating those returns and allowing for inflation. Does that make sense to everyone? Before I go on to the last two questions. Everyone with me? Sorry to troll your live chat. I'd like to get in touch with you, starting my own fund shortly. How can I get in touch? You can get in touch with us. All of the details are below across the bottom of the screen here. All right. Now, I did say this would be eye-opening, and I said it would be motivating or a slap in the face for some of you. All right. Now, here's where the real, this is really going to be the slap in the face or the motivation, because for some of you, this will be a lot easier than you thought. And for some of you, it's a little bit more out of reach than you thought, but you will now have something to aim for and you'll know what to focus on. I'm going to share with you some extra tips at the end. So question 9, ready? We know how much liquidity we need. We know our net worth and everything. We know the rate of returns. We know the inflation rate. So we know what we need to allow for. So the next question is, what is the shortfall between the gross figure that you need, right, in question 8, and your net worth or your liquidity that you have, okay? So deduct your net worth from the figure that you just got in the last question. So in this example, 615,000 minus our net worth, which is 375,000, equals 240,000. Make sense? That means we literally just need 240,000 to accumulate and add it to our investment fund to be able to generate enough money to live on based on our ideal living costs, taking into consideration inflation and relatively conservative returns. So pretty passive. Make sense? Now, here's where you want to tweak it. The reason we've done the whole kind of holistic view here is because some of you will have equity in a home, which is not accessible. Some of you will be liquid. But either way, you've now got a figure where you can consider either shipping your house and getting the equity out of that, and some of you might be financially free based on these figures. If you took the equity from your home and invested it, and these figures worked out for you, that's it. You're done. Evening, Michael. You're done, right? So you want to do an example with your home equity, and you want to do an example as if you don't have your home equity. And when you do both of those, you really get clear with the numbers. You really get connected to the numbers. And it gets you excited because you don't need millions. In this example, if we wanted to live a 60 grand a year lifestyle, which by the way, has been proven that anything above 60,000 just doesn't make you any happier, right? At the moment, at this current time, anything above 60,000 a year doesn't make you any happier. So let's just say 60 grand. If you wanted a 60 grand lifestyle forever, okay, and you wanted to maintain that lifestyle forever, you're not needing millions and millions to be completely financially free. In this case, we've got a net worth of 375,000, and we just need 240,000 as long as we're liquid, right? Now, the beauty of this is when you become in a place where you're free and able to focus on your most meaningful work, you will naturally earn more money. It's impossible not to. You earn more money because you focus on other projects that you've got the choice to do. And when you're intrinsically motivated to help people, what happens is you can't not earn money. I've seen it myself. I've done it myself multiple times now. And that's what happens. So the last question, I'm going to get to the last question, then we're going to go into the competition. Did the exact same last year, sold my house, took the equity, now almost at my goal of financial freedom. Thanks for this advice from Jason. That is incredible to hear, Jerome. Amazing to hear. I'm 18, been investing in S&P for a few months. I'm excited to see my investments in 20 years if I increase the deposits each month. Amazing. What happens when you don't have a big house, but you're planning on buying one or any other big purchase? Patrick, the first thing to know is that buying a house has nothing to do with financial freedom. Paying off a mortgage has nothing to do with financial freedom. Okay? It's just like paying off a car. You know, there's nothing different about paying off a loan on a car than there is paying off a loan on a house, other than the fact it's a bigger loan. It doesn't make you free. Once you've paid the loan off, you're still going to work to pay for the house. So anyway, hi Julie, how you doing? So the last question's this. Everyone ready for the last question? Hopefully everyone's got that so far and really got a lot of value from this. We've just reached 100 messages on the stream. Amazing. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't liked it already, and I'll give you the last question. So the last question is really, really important, and that is, what is your strategy? If you're not where you need to be right now, what is your strategy? What are you going to do? You know, because as I said last week, every month that you don't get your act together and invest is worth millions and millions to you down the line. And it's worth tons and tons of time, years of time. So every time and every month that goes by that you don't get your act together and start investing and putting your money to work to get this 10%, then that's worth millions to you. All right. Now, I want to give you guys, we're running out of time now, so I just want to give you guys some more help here. Obviously, we've gone over this and we've glazed over it. We've been over it in half an hour. I want to make sure that you get access to this. What I've done is I've put together a little download, 10 questions, plus there's a video, a tutorial on how to fill these things out. So I give you these examples again in a video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to include the link in the description of this recording that goes up. So check the comments and I'll pin it to the top. And also there is a wealth test. If you want to go real deep and you want to get a blueprint, step by step on what you need to do to get there as efficiently as possible, check out the wealth test. Just go to discover.tiersoffreedom.com and do this test. Do this test on a regular. Do this on a regular, and believe me, this will help you no end. It will give you a map. It will give you a map on what to do and also how to get there as quickly as possible. So that just leaves one thing. Everyone got value so far. Everyone enjoyed the show this week. We're about to do the competition. So it's competition time now. Incredible prizes. We're giving away these hoodies. So we're giving away these incredible hoodies here. First of all, I want to say a massive congratulations to Gregory Saju last week, who won an amazing hoodie that I was wearing last week. We're giving away another hoodie this week and a couple of other little surprises. So in order to win each week on the competition, all you need to do is be here during this competition time, commenting, right? So show me some love on the comments. Let me know what you got out of this session. Let me know what's, what your key ideas were, your key take homes. Let me know how you feel about the show. And then you will be selected at random for next week's prize. Okay. So that just leaves this week's prize winner to be announced. And the prize winner of this week goes to Richard Ashton. Well done, man. You commented last week and you said you was loving the show. We picked you at random. You deserve the hoodie. That's on its way to you. So let's have some share some love for Richard. Well done, Richard. All right. So that about wraps up the show, guys. I just want to say thank you for all being here. Look how engaging this is. This is incredible. I really I love doing this show. It's amazing. And guys, I just want to wish you a great rest of your day and weekend. And until next week, take care and I'll see you then.